Hello, my name is Casper Hansen, and today we're gonna tie one of my favorite salmon flies, the Beiss Fly, in a little special version. So follow along. At first we're gonna take the tube and just burn it a little bit and prepare the tube here. Yes. I use a little glue just to fix the metal tube on the plastic. Just like that. Then I cut it off approximately 5-6 millimeters in front of the plastic tubing, or in front of the metal tubing, and then I burn a little color on the plastic as well. Now we're ready. I use a black thread and I just tie it in on the plastic tubing. Then I build up with the black thread here on the plastic before I go up on the metal tubing, just like this. At first we're going to tie in the butt with some red Chinese yarn. Just fold it a little bit here and then I tie it in. When I do this, I get a little loop here, which I will use it later, and then I have the yarn here that I can make a few turns with. I go back, 1, 2, like this, and then I go forward again. Like that. Then I take the small loop, just twist it a little bit, and then fold it over the butt like this, so the yarn can't slip out of the tubing. Then I just tie it down. Like that. Then I go down on the plastic tubing again with my thread and I take some black antron yarn and now I'm going to build up the body. It's quite a simple fly, but it works really good. I tie in the antron underneath. Just stretch it a little bit and then I try to build up the body, and I have to make it go up on the plastic tubing as well. All the way back to the butt, and now I can stretch the antron yarn a little bit, so I make an even, nice black body. Then I just twist it in my fingers, go down on the plastic tubing like this, and tie it in. Cut away the rest. Like that. Then I take the first hackle, an orange hackle, just prepare it a little bit. I tie this in before I make the wing. Tie it in on the underside. Like this. Then I take this little knife and just prepare the fibers a little bit, putting them all on the one side of the stem. And then I make 2 turns with this orange hackle. I do this for 2 reasons. One is I want to have the orange to be a little bit brighter in the fly, but also to lift up the wing a little bit more. Now we have the butt, we have the body, and we have the first hackle tied in. So now we're going to start with the wing. I have a foxtail here, dyed in this Beiss-like color, and I take out 2 bits of hair. I take one of the shorter, more stiff hair for the underwing, and I take a bunch of softer, longer hair for the overwing. And I'm just gonna see where I can find something good. I think this would work. For the underwing, put it down here, and then I take a little bit longer hair for the overwing. This seems nice and soft. Like this. I tie the wing in 4 bunches, and I will prepare them one at a time. At first I tie the underwing with the little bit stiffer hair, and I will tie them in 2 bunches. At first I brush it quite a lot. Then I prepare the hair, taking away all these long parts, and make a small first bunch here. Shouldn't be much longer than the tubing. The tubing is a 6mm brass tube. You could use a tungsten tube as well. And I tie this in. I try to taper it a little bit at first. And then I tie it in on the top of the fly. Just twist my thread a little bit to make it stronger. Two turns, make sure it sits where I want it to, it does. And then 2 or 3 hard turns. Here we go. Then I make the second underwing with the same material. Brush it good. to make the nice taper that I want on my flies, I want to have this drop form. I want the wing to swim, the fly to swim and move really nice in the water. So I try to taper each bunch of hair, and then I just pull out a little bit here in the middle to make it a little bit more tapered. And then I tie it in. If this wing is this long, the next one I tie maybe 1 centimeter longer. So I put it on a little bit more. Make sure I don't go down on the side of the fly, but still stays on top of the first wing. Like this, yeah. That was 2 of the 4 wings that I want to tie in. Now I take the overwing, where I use the softer hair. The reason why I take the stiffer hair in the bottom is because I wanted to lift up the overwing, make the overwing swim and move really nice in the current. So I brush this really good. These hair are normally also a bit longer. When you have a tail, a part of the tail is the stiff hair and another part is the longer, softer hair. Take it up like this, maybe take away some of the longer ones here. And then I pull in the middle of the bunch to make the taper even more visible. Now I have this nice tapered bunch of hair that I want to tie in. The first wing was a little bit longer than the tubing, maybe. The next one 1 centimeter longer. This is the longest bunch, and I tie this in maybe 2 centimeters longer than the second one to make the taper of the wing even more visible. Seems to be sitting very good. It's always extremely important when you tie in a wing like this with 3, 4, 5 bunches of hair that you don't overdress it. It's very easy to put on too much hair, so you have to be very careful. And it seems like a lot in this part, but we will take that away in a minute. But the actual wing is light, there's a lot of transparency to it, and I like that. To make it reflect some light as well, we put in a little bit of flash. I use some angel hair in some rusty olive color. 2, maybe 3 strands of angel hair. I tie them in on top of the fly. Like this. Two turns, and then I just fold back and make a little V on top of the wing so that the flesh spreads out nicely in the whole wing. Then I just cut it in different lengths so it swims well. Now I have to tie in the last part of the wing, the overwing. I use some body hair from the fox. It's the softest hair you find from the fox, and it's perfect for an overwing. It swims really good, blends nicely in, and makes the drop form even more visible. Brush it a little bit first. And just as I said, make sure you don't take too much hair. I think I got a little bit too much here. Just gonna pull a little bit of it out. Try to taper it. Pull the hair in the middle. Like this. And then I tie these in. The last bunch here has to be shorter than the overwing. The last bunch, third bunch, was the longest one. This is maybe 1.5 to 2 centimeters shorter again. Again, I make sure I don't press it down on the sides, but it lies nice on top of the other bunches, so that the wing gets this nice drop form. Just like that. Now my wing is finished. I just secure it with a little bit extra thread, and then I cut off all this. A little tip is to twist it in your fingers before you cut it. Make sure you don't cut the thread, but just twist the hair and cut it as closely as you can. This can be a little bit tricky, and right now I can see some thread or some hair going out in front of the tubing. Then I can use my knife here and just carefully cut it off like this. Without cutting the thread, of course. And now to the last part, the front hackle. I use an orange soft neck hackle. Take away the fluffy part here first. I want to have 2 turns of hackle, and because of the thread and building up the wing, I know I need maybe approximately 3 centimeters of hackle, like this. I fold it back, and then I cut off the tip like this. I take a few fibers, pull them forward like that, and tie them in first. Then I fold them back so that the hackle won't go anywhere. I always tie in underneath the fly like this, fold it back. Like this. Turn the hackle 2 times right next to each other. Like that. And then I tie it in. When I burn this little collar at first in the plastic tubing, I can tie the fly a little bit up against that, so it helps me now when I need to finish my fly. And now I just want to put on some chicks. I pick out 2 jungle cock feathers, same size. Put them on top of each other just to make sure that they have the same length, like that. Take away the fluff. I try to hit this point just where the wing ends and the body starts when I tie in my jungle cock. Do it the same place on the other side. I pull it a little bit, then I check that it sits the same way that I want it. Seems okay. Then I just make a few hard turns. I have the stem of the jungle cock sitting like here, right here now. And I pull that back and tie it in so that the feather will never be able to slip out or get pulled off the fly. It can be a little bit tricky afterwards, but if you just cut them off, it's absolutely no problem. And the jungle cock sits just where you want it to. Then I just finish the fly with a little knot. Pull it tight like that. And cut off the thread. Then I want the rest of the jungle cock feather to be cut off as well. And sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to see where it is, but you can always feel it because it's much stiffer than the hackle fibers. So when I find it like that, I can just pull it up and cut it off. Like this, cut it off. This is the fly. Now, because I tie in 4 wings, I like to brush them together. So I take my little black brush like this, and I just brush through the wing from all angles. Check out that the flesh is cut in the right length as well. Like that. And there you go. Beiss Fly, the Beiss Fun with a nice drop form wing.